From WKYT Podcast, this is Uniquely Kentucky. I'm your host, Amber Philpott. Hello, podcast listeners. I hope you're doing well. Here we are, still dealing with a global pandemic. It has been tough on a lot of people, and while there is some hope in sight for many of us getting back to a new normal, it seems things may never really be the same. The good news, we can be hopeful of what is to come. One of those areas that's still up in the air, sports, high school, college, professional, we just don't know. What is resuming potentially will be very different than what we've ever seen. For college sports, the future is yet to be determined. Sports is something I miss a lot. It was tough having the men's SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament for both men's and women's basketball just shut down. College athletes and the staff behind them work so very hard to put a product on the floor or field so we can all be entertained. I know we all yell and get mad when our teams don't do well, but maybe after this, we'll take it easy on those players and coaches. I mean, hopefully we'll be so grateful to have them back and just to be a fan again. For this week's episode of Uniquely Kentucky, I checked in on a guy who is one of the most motivating and positive guys I know. Coach Matthew Mitchell will be entering his 13th season at the head of the Kentucky women's basketball program. He came in with a vision of making the women's program a powerhouse program. He has built a fan base behind his team like none other. This week, we're talking, of course, basketball with Coach, but also what life has been like while healthy at home, why homeschooling is harder than coaching college ball, and what Coach is and isn't getting to watch on Netflix.
Uniquely Kentucky with Amber Philpott is brought to you by the WKYT News and Weather apps, available on the App Store and Google Play.
I want to welcome Coach Matthew Mitchell to Uniquely Kentucky today. Coach, how you doing? How you holding up in the middle of all this mess?
Amber, it's good to see you, and thanks for having me on. And we're holding up as well as we can. And you know, it's been such an unusual time in all of our lives, and a great challenge that we're all facing. But we've tried to find the positive things we can move toward and the positive things we can accomplish. So I cannot complain. We are healthy and we've been safe and we've been had good provisions, and so there's no complaints here.
We'll talk a little basketball in a minute, but I want to know what Coach Matthew Mitchell has been doing in quarantine. I've seen some TikTok videos. I've seen what looks to me just like a whole lot of fun going on in that household. What's been happening?
Well, it's been an incredible time. It happened for a basketball coach during a very busy time of the year. You know, our season was coming to an end, and we were so sorry that we weren't able to play in the NCAA tournament, but there were a lot more pressing matters, and I think that was definitely the appropriate thing for all of us to do. But we also had a lot of recruiting to do, and then we had to move our current students on to a virtual campus from a physical campus, and so there was a lot to do, and so it's incredible how much work we've been able to accomplish. But that's been a bit challenging at times, because I also became the principal of a new homeschool, the Mitchell Homeschool, Amber, and the students have been a bit unruly, and we are staggering down the finish here. I'm going to tell you now, it's there's a whole lot of fun, but there's a little angst and a few tears here and there just trying to get this school year finished. I think I'm a much better basketball coach than I am a homeschool principal. So
is that you and Jenna that are crying and not Sailor and Presley probably?
Listen, Amber, it just depends. It's all four of us at times, so it just kind of depends on the situation. But you know, it's been a lot of fun to have some extra time to be around the family and kids, because it would have been a period where I would have been traveling a lot, or we're still working a lot of hours, but it's just so much fun to have everybody around. So that's been really, really good and really positive. And, you know, I don't know when that will ever happen again. So we want to cherish those moments.
It has been a blessing, I know. I mean, nobody ever wanted to have this happen, and none of us wanted to see us lose people and Kentuckians and people get sick. But I think the blessing is that we've all taken a step back and really appreciated being home and the people that are with us every single day. And I hope that's the case for everybody, right?
Yeah, we hope so. And I hope it's given, it's certainly, I'll tell you from my personal experience, I've certainly had some time to reflect because, I think so many of us in this day and age get so busy and we're on the go and we're trying to, make a positive difference by activity. And this has really, slowed that down, slowed our ability to be active in ways that we normally were. We've now had to figure out ways to be active in what is now, a very different way. So I've enjoyed some of the time to reflect and to plan for the future and to really examine what we can learn out of this. I think that's a great opportunity, Amber, for all of us now, is that we don't emerge from this feeling like we lost something, but we emerge feeling like we gained something. And I think that's an idea of perspective and exercise all of us can engage in and can benefit from.
How are you keeping up with your players and the team? Because, you want to stay engaged with them and keep them focused, both just, mentally, not necessarily on basketball, but just mentally, and check in on them. How are you doing that these days?
Well, we were so concerned, Amber, at the beginning of it. And I just want to report that we're so thrilled with how it's turned out. But let me take you back to the beginning of that. We had just completed the SEC tournament. We were so excited for the NCAA tournament. And we had our last practice on March the 11th. It was a morning practice and was kind of funny. We'd had a little flu running through our group. And so we were giving virtual high fives and air hugs and everything. So we were trying to stay healthy during what we thought was just normal flu season. And so we had that practice that morning of March the 11th. I actually went on a recruiting trip to Houston, Texas, and boy, a lot of stuff happened that day, March the 11th, and it just happened with such speed. It was one way when I left Lexington. Something else had happened by the time I landed in Houston. By the time I was back on the plane, it had developed a little bit more. I landed in Lexington about 11 o'clock that night and it had progressed more. And then really March 12th, NCAA canceled the tournament, and then we were in a meeting March the 13th early that morning, and we had to get people off campus. We had to get our students off campus, and at that time we thought we were just going to give the campus a deep see what happened and be back 3 weeks later. And then about 5 days after that, Amber, we found out we had to take our academics that we had remaining, and it's going to be 7 weeks of that. We had to make that virtual campus, and we had to figure out how all that happened. And so to answer your question about staying in touch with the players, we got very familiar with video conference, and we just did the very best that we could to try to deliver all of the principles of our program and all of the structure of our program. And we just tried to do it virtually and by video. And I'm just blown away at how the students reacted and how they acted, really, is what they did. And they got with it. And we just had our greatest semester academically from a grade point average. We had over a 3.6 GPA, and the students really responded. So we tried to stay encouraging academically. And then we also would just try to mix it up. We'd have some small group meetings on Zoom. We'd have a big team meeting from time to time. Of course, we would call and text and all those kind of things that you can stay connected with. We even had our year-end banquet on a Zoom call. And so we just tried the very best we could to stay connected and to stay active and to support one another, and the players right back to the coaches as well. I'd get texts like, "Coach, how are you doing?" So it was a beautiful time for us, and I'm very proud of our players and our staff. I feel like we took a real challenging situation and turned it into a positive situation where maybe we learned some lessons about staying connected that through this challenge, that then you're around people and you take them for granted, and those kind of lessons, I feel like maybe we've come out of this a little bit more connected.
Coach, I wonder about that when we get back to sports and we get back to whatever it's going to look like in terms of competition. I wonder about that now these teams are going to be so well connected, more so than they would have been if maybe they had been together, because they've been forced to really check in on each other, talk to each other, and learn about each other. So I think that's got to be a positive once you get back out on the court.
Yeah, you sure want that to happen. And, I can only speak for our experience and then what I'm noticing from my colleagues at Kentucky and how hard Dr. Capilouto and how hard Mitch Barnhart and his executive team have worked to stay connected. I thought they really set a great example for us. And, leadership's so important during this time, Amber. Mitch, could have sort of folded and said, hey, let's just go through the motions and get through this. But he really challenged all of us as coaches. Let's finish the semester and let's do it well, and let's be excellent like we always are at Kentucky, and let's aspire to be our very best. And that was very inspiring, I know, for me, as I tried to take from his leadership and let that flow down through our team. And so I think it's so important for us to come out of this to the other side and not forget the lessons that we learned, because I think it comes down to being intentional. And what I've learned is that just because I'm physically in the gym with our 14 players doesn't mean that I've had a quality interaction with all 14 of those players. And this has forced us to be more intentional and to not take things for granted. And so I certainly want Kentucky women's basketball to be more connected and to have learned that lesson. And hopefully you'll see a stronger team emerge from this.
Boy, we all can't wait to those days when we get to cheer you guys on again. What can you tell me in terms of this team coming forward? Because you made a heck of a run in the SEC tournament. Like you said, you were excited about the NCAA tournament. You've got some good folks coming on board this team. What can we look forward to if and when basketball resumes sometime?
Well, we are confident that no matter when that happens, but that it is going to happen, and we're going to make it through this, and we're going to get through it together, just like our great governor has reminded us every afternoon that we're going to get through it, and we're going to do it, and so we will play basketball again. But that fuels our hopes and our dreams and our optimism. So we are planning for when we get together again, Amber, and when we do, we're so excited about our players, and we're so excited about the team that we can be in this next version of the Wildcats, whenever that is and however that ends up being. We have some very talented players, some very intelligent players, and we're also going to have some experience coupled with some very exciting newcomers. So it's going to be a great mix. We will start gathering that team together just like we would have if we were going to be on campus in Lexington. We'll start the process of building next year's team in June. And right now we're in a tremendous time of planning and making sure that we deliver everything we need to deliver to our players over the summer. The summer is such an important time of building the next team. And so I never want to make real big, bold predictions, because you got to go out and earn everything that you achieve on the basketball court. It's such a dynamic game, and you can't take anything for granted. But what I do have confidence in is the quality of the character and the quality of the talent we have to mesh together into what I think can be an outstanding Kentucky Wildcat team. And the next edition of the Wildcats is going to be one that I believe everybody will be excited about.
I think about you in terms of if we're not allowed to have fans, because you have built such an amazing fan base for the women's program. I mean, setting some records. Those fans are, Kentucky fans are Kentucky fans no matter what. But for the women's program, those folks love to pack it in and see you guys. And my heart goes out to if those folks can't be there to watch you all play.
It'll be a challenge. It'll be a challenging time for our fans who will be, missing the ability to get in there and connect their energy to our team. And Amber, as you well know, it just fuels our team in an incredible way, and in a significant way, and in an impactful way. There's no denying that. When we are always rallying the fans to come out, we try to make sure they understand there's a direct connection between their energy, and it contributes to our success. So the fans make a huge contribution to what Kentucky women's basketball is. And if that's the case, that we resume play without fans, it'll be a challenge we'll have to work through. It'll be a challenge for the fans. But we do just try to approach all of these challenges that they are temporary, and that life deals us throws us some curveballs or punches us in the gut, or whatever analogy you want to use. And then how are we going to respond? We talk about in our program, Amber, our guiding principles are honesty, hard work, and discipline. Our attributes, winning attributes, how we want to approach each other and how we want to show up for each other every day, being coachable, holding ourselves and others accountable. And then the last one is resilience. The resilience to bounce back from adversity. And how do you respond when you are knocked backwards, or you are slowed down, or you have a hurdle in front of you, however you want to put that. But we talk about that every day, and we try to let our players know that this is a significant crisis. This is not usual. This is an unusual setback that we're having, but it can prepare us to handle smaller setbacks better. And then at some point in their lifetime, they'll have another big setback like this. So we're just going to try every day to stay true to our principles and stay true to our attributes, and come out of this real positive, and we're going to make it through.
Boy, we're all being tested right now, that's for sure. Talk to me about the foundation. You and Jenna have really made it a mission to give back to this community in a lot of different ways. And that continues to be so important. And it continues to be really important right now in this moment that we're in right now.
Well, personally, as Jen and I think about helping out just as a couple, aside from the foundation, from a personal standpoint, we want to give because the community has given so much to us. And in coaching, it's very rare to really be able to be in a place and to build a career and be there and to connect with a place, and you're not looking to go somewhere else, and you really feel like God's led you to a spot and you're able to raise a family. Coaching can be such a nomadic existence, and you're always looking for the next step. And we're just so blessed at a young age to be able to come to Lexington, to a school of our dreams, and to build a life. And the community has just supported us, just like you're talking about the fan base that we've built. That's just the community giving to our lives and our career, and we just can't even wrap our minds around the success that we've had and all of the things that have led to that. And then also we're guided by our faith. We believe that we should give, and we believe that we should be there for people when we can help. We should help whenever we can. And so that's really guided our personal philanthropy and giving. And then, the foundation, we've had people who have partnered with us like Keeneland, and we've had individuals who have supported, and really what we've tried to focus on with the foundation is improving the lives of our young people in town through education. And so supporting Fayette County's public schools and supporting schools with some values training. So there's been some initiatives there. And so between the two, between our personal giving and the foundation, we've just tried to do everything we can during this crisis to deploy resources that have been needed. And we just wanted to do our part, Amber. We wanted to do our part, and we're just so proud to be in a community like Lexington where so many people have answered the call, and we're just happy we can be a small part of that.
Well, you've certainly made a difference. Aside from being a homeschool teacher, Coach, what else is keeping you busy these days? I mean, we all, like, I don't watch much television, but sadly during this time, I have binge watched more things. So what is Coach Matthew Mitchell binge watching these days?
Well, we have a few different things going on. So I don't know if I'm sure people are familiar on Netflix. Everybody's got a little different profile. So Presley and Sailor have one, and then Jenna has one. I'm the only person that doesn't have one. So I'm watching what Jenna wants to watch, or Presley or Sailor. But
you're always outnumbered, Coach. Always outnumbered.
I know it. There's all sorts of things, but we have watched. Jen and I have watched a couple shows. One on Prime Video called Jack Ryan that we really enjoyed. Season 1 of that. That's been really good. And then Sailor and Presley have watched some cooking shows, like this Sugar Rush is one of them that we watched just about every way to make a cupcake and a cake and everything. And I don't know why they gravitated toward that, but they really enjoy that. So we've had a lot of fun doing those things, and we've tried to, get outside as much as we could, where appropriate and in a safe manner, and try to stay active and get a little exercise going. So, we're just trying to do it the best way that we can. And there's been a lot of fun times that we've been able to sit down maybe and watch a TV show or a movie that we normally wouldn't have the time to do. So that's been fun.
Remember, for years, Coach, we saw your cooking skills in the kitchen with Jenna. Maybe they're trying to tell Dad something, watching those. Maybe
they just they were so inspired by that quality television for so many years that it rubbed off on them somewhat. But somehow, Amber, these shows we've been watching are a little bit higher quality than the coaches.
How about the music? Have you been practicing the music and keeping good for the band whenever you're called upon again?
I've stayed in contact with the band. That's one thing that has inspired me. I love music so much, and I sing. But I haven't really played an instrument since high school, and I never learned to play the guitar. And that's what I really learned in this deal. I need to find some way to learn how to play the guitar, because it is so much fun. Music's one of those joyful things, and so we have definitely had some mini concerts just with the family. We'll turn on YouTube, and you can find just about any artist you want to, and so we've stayed busy with that. I guess it's more like karaoke style, but the band is the guys that I play with in Nashville. They've actually done some virtual music and concerts. Haven't figured out how to hook all that together, and I don't want to ruin their shows too much by my contribution, but we've definitely stayed in contact or in touch with our music, and that's been a lot of fun. And we'll look forward that's another thing to look forward to, is that we'll hopefully be able to get together and do it in person, and all be able to have people get together and enjoy that.
Yeah. Coach, we appreciate you not only just on the basketball court, but just for being such a positive individual in our community. And we look forward to getting back to basketball. We just want to check in with you and see how you're doing. So thank you for being a part of this today.
Hey, I appreciate it, Amber, and thank you for who you are in our community, and please tell Sam for who he is, and everybody. WKYT has been such an impactful, positive partner in our community for decades, and nothing's changed during this crisis. You all have been there for the community and just provide such an incredible service, and we're indebted to you. And I'm so glad to see you, and so glad to be on with you. Thanks.
I'm giving you a big hug, a big virtual hug right here.
Yes, absolutely.
Coach Matthew Mitchell.